She's just like, you're either an Iron Maiden or an Ice Princess.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know, it's me, it's your girl KylerB coming at you with a new video. Today we're going to be talking about the Traitors US Season 2, Episode 7. Let's get right into the video. Today we're going to be doing a quick recap on Episode 6 before going into Episode 7. So in Episode 6, we see that Dan decided to attempt to kill Bergie. So with that being said, he made the attempt to murder Bergie. Bergie showed up to breakfast, and then Peter's plan was in effect. It was like worked. He basically said, I only told these three people, which is Parviti, CT, and Dan. And based on CT's expression, I'm ruling out CT because he was not fazed by Bergie showing up to breakfast. So Parviti and Dan were suspicious. They were like, they couldn't really look Peter in the eye. And then Dan basically knew that he's up to be Spanish today. But the thing is that Peter had it out for Parviti. Like, he was so ready for Parviti. Like, you know, and Parviti was trying to figure out how to, you know, get out of that situation. But he was like, yeah, you're guilty. Like, you and Dan are working together in some type of capacity. So when we get to the round table, Dan was like, you know what? He has to pull out his Hail Mary. He has to do his big one, whatever. So he decides to, you know, basically, you know, call out Phaedra, send Phaedra to the dogs, send Phaedra to the wolves. Basically says, you know, no one's suspecting Phaedra. You know, Phaedra's reactions to the breakfast. You know, Phaedra, no one's suspecting Phaedra. Her votes are not adding up. Like, she didn't have a reason, He basically just pulled, like, Phaedra down with him. And Phaedra, she got herself out of it. Like, she basically was like, yeah, I'm not one to play with. You're only calling me out because, you know, your back's up against the wall. And then one thing I have to say about that is that time and time, people were calling out Dan. And even Phaedra and Parvati was like, you know what, you need to change up your strategy. You need to do something different because people are really calling you out. Since MJ and Larsa called Dan out from jump, Dan was supposed to switch up his strategy. He was supposed to start doing something different. But he still continued to be like, okay, I'm not going to contribute. I'm not going to try to see, oh, this person's suspect or whatever. Like, he was just laying back. And I'm just like, that does not work because you're trying to work together as a group to figure out who's a traitor and who's not and earn money in the prize pot. So with that being said, why are you not speaking up and trying to sift out who's a traitor? So Dan, yeah, he messed up big time. Like, I already knew that if he didn't switch up his strategy, he was going to be sent home quickly. And that was true. I mean, like, trying to make an attempt at Bergie was just like, no, you should have listened to Parvati and say, like, you know what, try to find somebody else. But he was like, you know what, I need this murder. Like, I need this. Like, that's what he was saying. I'm just like, okay, chill out. Anyways, so with that said, we have Parvati basically in the ICU, and then Phaedra is basically being looked at because Trishelle was like the only reason Dan will bring up Phaedra's names because he knows that Phaedra is a traitor 100%. So, you know, he knows to give the group somebody so to get this, you know, get people off his back. So right now, Parvati's looked at this traitor. So Peter, he has his little group of 5, himself, Kevin, John, Trishelle, and Bergie, in his group of 5. And, you know, they be having like little secret meetings and this and that. And, you know, they're dubbed the faithful of the faithfuls, the most faithful of the faithfuls, which is just like, it kind of rubs people the wrong way. It's kind of rubbing people the wrong way because, you know, you're supposed to be working together as a group, but then you're having just the 5 of you try to figure out, oh, who's this and who's that. And it's just like, you know what, like, it's great and all that your plan worked and they got Dan out, but try to reconnect with the group and, you know, join in or tell people, like, get them on the plan. but he just making John, Trishelle, Bergie, and himself and Kevin basically be, you know, the know in the know, and then he'll just like give information when he needs to the rest of the faithfuls, the rest of the group. So when they were having a group, you know, Phaedra tried to come into the room, and then he was like, oh, give him 1 minute. So then they sent MJ. MJ did the same thing, and he told them like to give him a minute, and that really rubs people the wrong way. So then Sandra, episode 7, Sandra, she did a little strategy. She was like, you know what, we're gonna, you know, if we let them 5 for the next 2 murders and banishment, you know, lead the whole group, you know, they're gonna be outnumbered, because it's gonna be, right now it's 7 against 5, and then you have a murder and then a banishment, and then with that being said, it's just 5 to 4 people with whoever is a traitor amongst the group, or the traitors amongst the group. So Sandra's like, you know what, we have to take one of those 5 out.
So let's say these 5 vote one of us out, and now we're outnumbered because we only have 4.
Yeah, so we can't let that happen.
So what has to happen today without failure for us to get one step further
banish one of these.
is that one of these has to be banished.
I agree. This is the best thing I've ever experienced.
Doing them, the leftovers have to prevail.
So, and that plan really could have saved Parviti if there was a banishment. But before we get there, Parviti, when it was just Phaedra and, you know, herself in little Traitors' den, they had the option to either bring somebody into the Traitors group or, you know, just do a murder. So Parviti decided, you know what, she needs to try to get Peter, you know, in on her side. And I'm just like, it would make sense if it was just like somebody random, but Peter is already gunning for you, and he already has you. Like, all he needs is you, himself, and the 4 other votes, and maybe somebody else to banish you out the game. Like, being a traitor with you and Phaedra would not be the most beneficial. I mean, it was a smart plan to try to get him on your side, but he already has you like dead to rights. Like, you know, all he just has to is get you banished. Like, just say, you know, say what's going on and get you banished. So anyway, Peter got the sent to be recruited, and he denied getting recruited. So there was no murder that night because Peter denied being recruited. So at the breakfast table, it's the same people once more being at the breakfast table, and then Peter never revealed that he was recruited or was attempted to be recruited, and he denied it. So Parvati was like, you know what, since he's not revealing that information, you know what, I can use that as leverage to make him seem like he's guilty. Or she was like, I can use that information to make him seem guilty or like a suspect. So they were like, raise your hand if you got a letter from the Traitors or whatever. And he didn't raise his hand. So he was like, you know what, I'm gonna only tell the people that is in his group about it, but I'm not gonna reveal that information. So Parvati and Peter just basically had like a indirect, direct back and forth. And it was just like, it's very like, you know, I know you're a traitor, but you don't really know 100%. But, you know, she's trying to get him. So with that being said, they do their mission, and they did their mission in pairs, and only 2 pairs were ending up to successfully do a mission, which was Sandra and Kevin, and Parviti and John. So Sandra and Kevin was the first, you know, group to get to finish their mission correctly, and they were ending up to, as a group, get $8,000. And they got the shield, so that kept them safe for the night. So, you know, Alan comes back and he basically tells the group, there's not going to be a banishment tonight, but we need to come back outside into the woods. So Alan says, you know, there's going to be like you get to save, you know, light a torch and basically save until there's only 5 people left. So since Sandra and Kevin have a shield, they're safe. So they decided to save Cherie. MJ felt a kind of way because they were like, since Sandra and MJ are kind of close, she would definitely save MJ. But I mean, we don't know if it was just Sandra's say or not Sandra's say. I know that Kevin and her talked, and they both agreed to save Sheree. So Sheree's torch got lighted, and Sheree decided to save Phaedra. So Phaedra got emotional because, she knows Sheree from outside of this game, for the past 20 years. So this is like a big thing, they have their ups and downs, whatever. So she saved Phaedra. Phaedra gets saved. Parvati was like, oh, of course Phaedra didn't save me. Which I think that would have been very, very, very not good. For one of the reasons is Peter already has you dead to rights, basically kind of figured you're basically a traitor. And if Phaedra saves you, that would just make it so much more suspicious to them and their little 5 group that, Phaedra's really in with the Traitors. She's saving Parvati, and Parvati was close with Dan, so really connected. So Phaedra decides to save CT. So Parvati's a little upset. So CT gets saved. CT had a choice between John or Trishelle, and he decided to save John, which I feel like he could have saved Trishelle because Trishelle is already in the Peter group and with John. So might as well just save Trishelle. Trishelle's in your, this challenge alliance. You guys mended things since you guys been on the show. Like, might as well save Trishelle. What does John really bring? Like, not much. But anyways, he thought John was more, important for the group. In a sense that, he had to save John. So he saved John, and then John had the last pick. And it was either, Trishelle, Peter, MJ, Bergie, so on and so forth, and Parvati. So he decided to save Peter. And Peter was the one that Parvati was gunning for the longest. So since Peter was safe, the Traitors only have a group of 5 to murder, which is, Parvati herself, Bergie, Trishelle, MJ, and Kate, out of the people to kill. So when they get back, MJ was upset, Parvati was upset, Trishelle was upset with CT because they thought they were just more closer than that, they fixed their relationship, whatever. She was upset about that. And then, MJ was upset because she was like, I'm not think of as first on list. And in that situation, Sandra came to the conclusion that, she had this big plan that they're all going to vote out Peter before this whole, non-banishment style saving ceremony. And with that, Peter revealed that he was so scared of either getting banished or murdered by the Traitors that Sandra's like, yeah, he's not a traitor. So if Sandra voices her reasons of not banishing Peter, everybody probably might not banish Peter, and probably going to be on the chopping block once again. So they get back to the Traitors den, and I guess Parvati is still kind of feeling some type of way that, Phaedra didn't save her. So she's just like, what? While Phaedra's like, giving her tips of like, stop being an ice queen, walk into the room, try to be a little bit more social, whatever. Parvati's like thinking to herself, like, I gotta keep my eye on Phaedra because Phaedra might send me to the wolves. But I'm like, didn't you and Dan basically came up with a plan to feed Phaedra to the wolves first? And Phaedra had to let you know, like, not to do that at all. Like, yeah, don't play me like that. So I don't know why you now looking at Phaedra as like, oh, she might feed you to the wolves. Like, please be for real, Parvati. But anywho, Parvati's like, you know what? It's either between MJ, and I'm just like, wouldn't it make the most sense to kill Trishelle because she's a part of Peter's pack? To weaken Peter's pack is to basically help yourself. Trying to kill MJ is a part of Phaedra's pack, and Phaedra is gonna try to, help you a little bit because you need the help. Like, trying to murder MJ, doesn't make sense. Kate, doesn't really make sense because Kate doesn't really add much. it's either Trishelle or Bergie while you have the chance. So why don't you? Like, hopefully they do pick Trishelle or Bergie, but you know, they just letting Parvati take the reins on this murder, so we don't know who gets killed in the, you know, yet until the next episode. But that was the episode. So depending on Parvati's decision, if she doesn't try to take out somebody out of Peter's pack, yeah, she's gone in the next banishment. She's gone. Like, girl's gone. So she either has to take out Bergie or Trishelle, or if she takes out MJ, she just weakens her side. Sandra is not thinking Peter is, you know, is a traitor, so she's not gonna vote for Peter at all. I mean, she would try to vote for somebody else within that pack, but Peter's really off the tables for Sandra at this point, because she figured that, you know, his reaction to the light torch saving ceremony, the little chain, it wasn't giving traitor. So yeah, that was episode 7 of the Traitors US season 2, and let's see what the next episode brings. If you guys like this video, like the video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns, and subscribe to my channel, subscribe anything you guys watching this video. Peace.